Scientists just discovered something that flips everything we thought we knew about Alzheimer's disease on its head. For decades, they believed brain cells didn't store sugar. Turns out they were wrong, and this mistake might have been blocking our path to a cure. Deep inside your brain, billions of neurons are working overtime to keep you thinking, remembering, and functioning. But in Alzheimer's patients, something strange is happening. These brain cells are hoarding sugar, like they're preparing for a famine that never comes. And this sugar stockpile might be the smoking gun we've been looking for. Here's what makes this discovery so groundbreaking. Researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging found that neurons affected by Alzheimer's are packed with glycogen, basically stored sugar. Now, scientists always thought brain cells didn't do this. They believed only support cells called astrocytes stored glycogen. But they were looking in the wrong place the whole time. Think of glycogen like your emergency food supply. When times get tough, you break it down for energy. But in Alzheimer's neurons, something sinister happens. The tau protein, yes, the same protein that forms those infamous tangles in Alzheimer's brains, literally glues itself to this stored sugar. It's like putting a padlock on your emergency supplies right when you need them most. What happens next is devastating. When neurons can't break down their glycogen, they lose access to a critical survival pathway called the pentose phosphate pathway. This pathway is like your cell's antioxidant factory. It produces compounds that protect neurons from damage. Without it, brain cells become sitting ducks for oxidative stress. Let me put this in perspective. Right now, over 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. By 2050, that number will nearly double to 13 million. The economic burden? We're talking $384 billion in 2025 alone. And that's not counting the emotional toll on families watching their loved ones slowly disappear. But here's where it gets interesting. This discovery completely reframes how we think about Alzheimer's. It's not just about protein clumps anymore. It's about metabolism. It's about how brain cells process energy. And this changes everything about how we might treat it. Remember those GLP-1 drugs everyone's talking about for weight loss? Ozempic, Wegovy, and their cousins? Well, they might be our secret weapon against Alzheimer's. Studies show people with diabetes taking these drugs have up to 70% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. That's not a typo, 70%. These drugs work by improving how cells handle sugar. And if Alzheimer's is partly a sugar metabolism problem, suddenly this makes perfect sense. Clinical trials are already showing that drugs like liraglutide can slow brain shrinkage and cognitive decline in Alzheimer's patients. Now, the researchers tested their theory in some clever ways. They used fruit flies. Yes, fruit flies get a version of Alzheimer's too, and human brain cells. When they activated the enzyme that breaks down glycogen, something remarkable happened. The tau damage decreased. The cells lived longer. The protective antioxidant pathways kicked back into gear. It's like they found the key to unlock that padlock tau puts on the emergency supplies. And when they turned that key, the cells could defend themselves again. This also explains something that's puzzled scientists for years. Why does fasting and calorie restriction seem to protect against Alzheimer's? Well, when you restrict calories, you naturally boost the activity of glycogen-breaking enzymes. You're essentially forcing your cells to unlock those emergency supplies and activate their protective pathways. But here's what really gets me excited. This discovery doesn't throw out everything we knew about Alzheimer's. It connects the dots. Those tau tangles we've been studying for decades, now we know they're not just clogging up neurons, they're actively sabotaging the cell's defense systems by hijacking their sugar stores. The traditional view was that brain glycogen was insignificant. Scientists calculated it could only fuel the brain for a few minutes, but they were thinking about it all wrong. It's not about fuel, it's about protection. That glycogen, when properly broken down, feeds into pathways that produce NADPH, a molecule that's basically your neuron's shield against damage. Think of NADPH like a fire extinguisher. When oxidative stress starts burning through your neurons, NADPH puts out the flames. But if tau has locked away your glycogen, you can't make NADPH. The fires rage unchecked. Neurons die. Memories disappear. What's fascinating is that neurons actually have all the machinery to store and process glycogen. They've had it all along. Scientists just assumed they didn't use it because the amounts were so small compared to other cells. But sometimes it's not about quantity. It's about having the right tool at the right time. This discovery is already changing how researchers approach Alzheimer's. Instead of just trying to clear out protein clumps, they're looking at ways to restore healthy metabolic sugar processing in the brain. They're developing drugs that can break the tau-glycogen bond. They're exploring how to boost those protective antioxidant pathways. And the best part? Some of these approaches are available right now. Those GLP-1 drugs showing promise in Alzheimer's, they're already FDA approved for other conditions. Clinical trials are underway to see if they can slow or stop cognitive decline in Alzheimer's patients. Early results look incredibly promising. This sugar discovery also helps explain why Alzheimer's risk factors are what they are. Diabetes, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, they all affect how your body handles sugar. If Alzheimer's is partly a metabolic disease, suddenly these connections make perfect sense. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean eating less sugar will prevent Alzheimer's. The problem isn't sugar itself. It's what happens when neurons can't process their stored sugar properly. It's about the traffic jam tau creates in the cell's metabolic highways. The researchers are already working on the next steps. They're developing drugs that specifically target this glycogen-tau interaction. They're exploring whether existing Alzheimer's drugs might work better if combined with metabolic therapies. They're even looking at whether simple interventions like intermittent fasting could help by naturally boosting glycogen breakdown. This is what scientific breakthroughs look like. Not a magic bullet, but a fundamental shift in understanding. For decades, we've been trying to sweep up the tau tangles after they form. Now we might be able to stop them from causing damage in the first place by keeping the cell's metabolic machinery running smoothly. For the millions of families affected by Alzheimer's, this discovery offers something precious: hope. Hope that we're finally understanding the real enemy. Hope that new treatments targeting metabolism could succeed where protein-focused therapies have failed. Hope that we might actually be able to slow or stop this devastating disease. The path from laboratory discovery to treatment is never straight or quick, but understanding the problem is the first step to solving it. And now, we understand that Alzheimer's isn't just about tangled proteins. It's about neurons losing their ability to protect themselves because their emergency supplies are locked away. This changes the game. Instead of one target, we now have multiple points of attack. Boost glycogen breakdown, protect the antioxidant pathways, improve metabolic health, prevent tau from binding to glycogen in the first place. Each approach offers a new chance to intervene. What do you think about this discovery? Does it change how you think about brain health and aging? The science is moving fast, and every breakthrough brings us closer to answers. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.